WWE Raw has a major problem, and it's that WWE has no idea what to do with their biggest stars on the show. They have no idea. Like, let's take CM Punk for example. CM Punk is easily one of the biggest stars in WWE right now, and is obviously the biggest star in Monday Night Raw. So you should be building the show around this guy. Especially because he's involved in the biggest story on Raw with Seth Rollins. And because of all of that, it's pretty obvious that everybody in the arena is there to watch CM Punk. You know, a lot of people would have bought their ticket only to see CM Punk. A lot of people watching at home are watching for CM Punk. But what does CM Punk do, huh? As the biggest star, what does he do? He shows up in the last 4 seconds of the show every week. Every single week, man, it's just CM Punk showing up in the last 4 seconds of the show to save Sami Zayn or save Jey Uso from Seth Rollins and his faction. That's just it. Every single week, man. Every single week. He's your top star, and he shows up for the last 4 seconds of the show. Are you kidding me? And CM Punk is not the only one. Let's take a look at Rhea Ripley, who's obviously the biggest star on the women's roster right now. She gets a bigger pop than anyone on that division. And she's relegated to a vignette. A goddamn vignette. And that's not it. How about Io Sky, dude? The women's world champion. The world champion. And she's relegated to a backstage segment where she says nothing. A backstage segment, dude. And that's the world champion, by the way. The world champion. And that's not it, you know, because we got our Jey Usos, we got our Gunthers, which we're going to get to later in the video, you know, because, you know, we got to save some for later. But the point is, if your main stars are not doing anything on your show, it's really going to hurt your show. And that's exactly what we saw. That's the problem that I noticed on this Monday Night Raw. So with that being said, let's get right into the review of tonight's Monday Night Raw. So the show kicks off with Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman just goes on an absolute yap sesh, says a bunch of nothing while trying to justify Bronson Reed joining Seth Rollins. It makes no sense, alright? I gave it the benefit of the doubt. I really did. I thought maybe they can come up with a proper explanation and make this make sense, but they did not. I'm sorry, they just did not. They did give us an explanation, but they did not give us a good enough explanation. Bronson Reed quite literally beat Seth Rollins, dude. They had like a no DQ match on Raw where Bronson Reed beat Seth Rollins. So why would he want to be under Seth Rollins now? It makes absolutely zero sense, man. Zero. And Braun Breaker as well, dude. This guy was the IC champion for so long. Like, I don't even know how many days. He beat, like, what, Sami Zayn? He beat Sheamus? He beat everybody in the mid-card, pretty much. And now the World Championship is being held by Jey Uso, a glorified mid-carder. And not just that, Braun Breaker's beaten Jey Uso as well. He beat him for the IC title. So when that's the case, this guy should be going after Jey Uso in the World Championship. And not just that, he quite literally had a storyline, a rivalry with Seth Rollins back in NXT. I mean, sure, it wasn't anything major, but a rivalry is a rivalry, alright? These two did not like each other. So why does Braun Breaker now want to be under Seth Rollins? Why does he want to help Seth Rollins get to the next level while he just stays as a mid-carder? It makes no sense. Braun Breaker in kayfabe is literally one of the most dominant guys on the roster. He can quite literally beat 90% of the guys on the roster, you know, in kayfabe. Same with Bronson Reed, dude. Same with Bronson Reed. This guy was whooping ass. And like I said earlier, he literally did beat Seth Rollins as well. And then he joined the Bloodline too, which has no explanation whatsoever, you know? We never talked about that after War Games. So yeah, none of this make any sort of sense, you know? None of this. Anyways, then Seth Rollins picks up the mic and he just starts his usual yap sesh again, you know? Everybody just starts a yap sesh now. Everybody. And it sucks to admit it, but Seth Rollins is turning into Jon Moxley, dude. This guy's turning into Jon Moxley. His promos, dude, the same thing about how, we're gonna, domination, revolution, and all of that, the silly stuff that he does with the Death Riders, Jon Moxley. That's pretty much the same thing Seth Rollins is doing right now. And that is not a good thing. That is not a good thing. The Death Rider storyline sucks. So does this one. And all Seth Rollins says is that, he's going to win Money in the Bank and he's going to get the power back and all that stuff. That's it. That's literally it. And he dragged that for 5 whole minutes, because he was playing with the crowd and all that stuff. Because now they just started booing him, which makes no sense because, they were just singing a song just about a few seconds ago. That's exactly why you gotta change his goddamn song, man. You can't have the biggest heel on your show coming out to the crowd singing a song. It's just stupid. Just bring back the second coming. So anyways, yeah, that was it for the segment, It was just a Seth Rollins yap sesh. That's just it. Wow, dude. Just wow. Not off to a good start for this Monday Night Raw. Let's just move on. Anyways, then we get this backstage segment with the Judgment Day where, Dominic Mysterio and Carlito are playing 2K25, and then we see Roxanne Perez who tries to hit on Dominic Mysterio a bit and all that stuff, and it's just like, come on, man. Just come on. We try to do this with, we did this with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan last year. We literally just did this last year. It's literally just a Control-C and a Control-V. Then, that's what they're doing right now. It's the same thing. Even back then, it was just, Liv Morgan trying to hit on Dominic Mysterio backstage. And now we're seeing the same thing with Roxanne Perez. Get out of here, man. There's zero creativity whatsoever here with Triple H. It's clear that he's just creatively burnt out, and now he's just recycling storylines. That's all he's doing right now. Now, do I think that just like the Liv and Rhea story, the payoff is going to be, Dominic Mysterio going with, Roxanne Perez? No, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to make it too obvious that, they're copying and pasting old storylines. But week to week, we're going to get a lot of the same segments that we got last year with Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. Now with, Dom and Roxanne Perez. That's just it. Let's just move on, man. This is goddamn stupid. Anyways, then we get Rusev versus Akira Tozawa. I'm not going to lie, dude. This whole, Rusev character is getting corny as hell. This is not Miro. Everybody has been saying that, he kept the, Redeemer character from AEW. I don't see it, man. I really don't see it. The Redeemer, Miro, was not this corny in the ring. He was not like, machka. No, he did not do that, all right? He did not do any of these corny stuff. So anyways, yeah, this match was exactly what it should have been. It was like a 2-second squash match where, Rusev obviously wins. And then, we get a post-match assault. And then, Sheamus arrives to the rescue, which is cool because I think we're going to be getting Sheamus versus Rusev, which is awesome. And I'm not going to lie, I think Rusev should turn face and form a tag team with Sheamus. Let's just move on. Anyways, then we see the New Day versus War Raiders versus the Creed Brothers. Now, this wasn't like a regular, triple threat tag match. It was like one of those weird multi-man tag matches that WWE does, where for some reason you have two people in the ring, and you can even tag your opponents in. It's stupid, man. It's just stupid. A triple threat tag match is supposed to be a basic triple threat match, but in tag team form. So you have 3 people in the ring. That's what it's supposed to be. Not whatever this monstrosity is. What is this, man? Stop doing this. Just stop. It's not good. But anyways, yeah, this wasn't a bad match by any means. I thought, it was pretty good. Obviously, New Day wins. They actually, pin Creed Brothers with, one of the Creed Brothers. They tricked them into thinking that they're actually working together and all that stuff, and they somehow picked up the W. That's just it. This title reign just sucks. The entire tag division on Monday Night Raw just sucks, and there's absolutely zero hope for it. Let's just move on. Anyways, then we hear, ooh, so Monday Night Jey Uso's now in your city. Tahoe! It's just me, who's day one? It's just me, who's day one? It's just me, who's day one. It's a lot of more look, block him down like this. Yeah, okay, I'm taking way too much time now. Let me just get to the point. So Jason picks up the mic and, what do you guys say? Oh, you want it again? Oh, it's just me, Oos. Day one, it's just me. You see how annoying it is? You see how annoying it is? Or if I just don't get to the point and just start, just saying, it's just me, Oos, over and over again. It's so annoying, man. An average entrance just for a promo on Monday Night Raw should not be this long, especially when you're saying absolutely nothing in the promo. So anyways, yeah, Jey Uso picks up the mic and he just says, it's been a rough week, Oos. Yeet. I've faced Logan Paul, Oos. Yeet. And now I'm face John Cena, Oos. Yeet. And then we hear Gunther, and Gunther shows up and he starts his usual yap sesh. Every single Gunther promo, man. I said this last week as well. I'm gonna say it again. Every single Gunther promo, here's how it goes. He spends the first 5 minutes just gassing up his opponent. He just says I really respect you. I really like this about you. I really like that about you. Yeah, you're an amazing. You're really good at this. Yeah, you're really good at that. Just a 5-minute glaze fest, and then in the end, all of a sudden, he just, says something like, but I am still the best in this ring, and all that, the basic stuff. That's all this guy does in every single promo, and that's exactly what this promo was. He just says, Jay, congratulations on 15 years of the Usos. Congratulations on your successful title defense, but I am still going to beat you. That's just it. That's all Gunther said, and then Jey Uso, he's just like, man, they keep down me, Us. Yeah, they keep down me, Us. yeet. I'll beat up Logan Paul, Oos, yeet. And I'll beat up you as well, Oos, yeet. So Oos, play my music, Oos, yeet. 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. It's just me, Oos. Day 1, it's just me, Oos. Day 1, what is this, man? What is this? This is not supposed to be the world champion, alright? If Jey Uso is going to be the world champion, at least have him come out here and cut good promos that actually have meaning, you know? That actually tell a story. Is anybody hyped for Gunther vs. Jey Part 69 on Monday Night Raw from, 2 weeks from now? Nobody is. You want to know why? Because they're cutting the same goddamn promos every single week. What's the difference between what we got this week and what we got last week? I'll tell you what, there's no difference. There's absolutely no difference, alright? There's nothing. And the reason why Jey Uso and Gunther have absolutely nothing to say, to each other on every single Monday Night Raw is because they were feuding for the past 6 months or so, and they have already fired everything they had. They have fired all of their ammo, and now they have run out of ammo. They have nothing to say, because they've already said everything they wanted to say, because they've been feuding since January. January, man, get out of here. Who wants to see this? Who wants to see this, dude? Genuine question. Is there anybody out there that can genuinely look me in the eye and tell me that, yes, I am enjoying Gunther vs. Jey Uso. I am looking forward to Gunther vs. Jey Uso running it back because I absolutely love this story. I think Jey Uso and Gunther have a lot of chemistry, and I totally do not think that Gunther should be doing some more interesting stuff with AJ Styles and CM Punk and all those guys, and I totally do not think that Jey Uso is wasting everybody's time with these, 8-minute entrances every single week and, cutting absolutely nonsense promos every single week. I absolutely do not think that, and I'm enjoying everything, and I'm also sucking Triple H's dick. Can anybody tell me that with a straight face? Well, if you're watching this video right now, comment that down below, word for word. Because I'm 100% sure that I speak for 90% of the WWE fan base that this storyline between Gunther and Jey Uso's title reign itself has been nothing but 4 words, 1 word, oh, shit! Let's just move on. Anyways, then we get Liv Morgan versus, what's her name? Kairi Sane. Liv Morgan's back, by the way, I forgot to mention that. And this wasn't a bad match. I wouldn't say, it was bad or anything crazy. It was just kind of average, I'd say this was an average match. And obviously the highlight is that Roxanne Perez got involved. And because of that, the referee got distracted and all that stuff. And Kairi Sane took advantage of that and won the match. So obviously Liv Morgan is pissed at, Roxanne Perez for her involvement and all that stuff. But then, backstage, she, actually is pissed at Raquel Rodriguez. Because, Raquel Rodriguez, she has experience in this. She should have known better and all that stuff, So it's whatever, let's just move on. This story just sucks, right? It just sucks. Plain simple fact. They're trying to do some new stuff and, keep it alive a little bit with, Roxanne Perez and all that stuff. When in reality, this is just recycled BS. That's what it is. It's just recycled BS. And I am goddamn tired of it. Just end the Judgment Day already. We are all tired of it. Let's just move on. Anyways, then we get this promo battle between Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch, where basically Lyra Valkyria calls Becky Lynch Becky Hogan and all that stuff. Well, she didn't say that, but that's what she basically said, that she's stealing opportunities and all of that stuff. And then Becky Lynch just says, "Oh, you think all I do is steal opportunities? Well, let's face each other at Money in the Bank. And if I lose, I will never challenge you for the title ever again." And that was just it. So the match is official. We're going to be getting Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria at Money in the Bank. And if Becky Lynch loses, she's never going to challenge Lyra Valkyria again for the IC title. I'm not going to lie, this might be the only rivalry in WWE right now that actually progresses every single week, We get something every single week on Raw. There's always some kind of story progression. So that's good. Let's keep this up. Let's just move on. So anyways, I just want to talk about this, We see Sami Zayn backstage. He's obviously getting ready for his match, his main event match. And then out of nowhere, Karrion Kross just goes, "Hey, Sami." And then he just shows up out of nowhere, And then, he just starts his basic promo about, whatever he talks about with Sami Zayn every single time. What is this, man? This is what you have for Karrion Kross? Are you kidding me? I'm not just going to sit here and lie and tell you guys that I'm a big fan of Karrion Kross. And, he's a great wrestler. And he I love his matches and all that stuff. But at least give him a chance, dude. At least give this guy a chance. He cut a great promo and, he's pretty much won over the WWE fans with that one promo. And, he's getting big pops on main event. Main event, dude. On main event, he's getting big pops. I remember going to Monday Night Raw back in 2023, and nobody reacted for a main event, dude. Nobody gave a single crap. So the fact that he's actually getting pops on main event. Goes to show you that some way or another, I don't care what you might say, you're gonna say, oh, it was just one promo, it was just one promo. But some way he's won the WWE fans over, so the least you could do is give him a chance, dude. Just put him on TV. I'm not saying give him a title and all that stuff, just put him on TV. Like, I don't get it, man. What more can you possibly do? Just think of yourself in Karrion Kross' shoes right now. What more can you possibly do to get TV time? You're selling a lot of merch. You're getting huge reactions. Everybody online is, popping for you. Everybody online is rooting for you. So I really don't get what more you can do, to get on TV. But oh, never mind, guys. I just realized we gotta give TV time to some random fat-ass comedian who just shows up, says a bunch of nothing, acts like a goddamn cornball, and just promotes his Netflix special and his podcast and just leaves. That's who we're gonna waste minutes of our show on. This random fat-ass comedian that does absolutely nothing instead of actually giving someone like Karrion Kross a chance. Instead of putting Ludwig Kaiser on TV. Where have these guys been, man? Where have they been? So anyways, yeah, I just want to get that out of the way. Let's just move on. Wow, dude, I was like 90% done with editing this video, but then I just realized that, I totally forgot to talk about the best part of the show, and that was a triple threat Money in the Bank qualifier match. Chad Gable versus Penta versus Dragon Lee. This match was just pure CTE grabs, dude. This was awesome. Everybody was getting dropped on their heads. Chad Gable almost died like 3 times in this match, and it was pretty concerning, but at the same time, that was so beast. That was beast, dude. This was just awesome. Like, Chad Gable was bleeding by the end of that, dude. That was crazy. Anyways, we did get involvement from, Vikingo as well, because he's gonna be facing Chad Gable at Worlds Collide, which, it really, messes up the whole thing, in my opinion. Because why is Chad Gable even in this match? He cannot make it in Money in the Bank. Let's be honest here. He's going to be facing Vikingo at Worlds Collide. So it's obvious that he's not going to be at Money in the Bank. Like, come on. He's not going to finish his match with Vikingo in the Kia Forum Arena and then drive over to the Intuit Dome and, wrestle in the Money in the Bank ladder match. He's not doing that. Obviously not. At least if they had El Grande Marcano in this match instead of Chad Gable, it would have made kind of sense. But, whatever. This match was, it was still really good. It was awesome. I loved it. And, obviously, Penta wins. Shout out Dragon Lee, dude. He needs to be on TV a lot more. Every single time he's on TV, he does not disappoint. He puts on great matches, gets great reactions. So put Dragon Lee on TV a lot more. Let's just move on. And now it's time for the main event. A triple threat match with Sami Zayn, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins for the Money in the Bank qualifier. And I'm not gonna lie, this match was an utter disappointment. Because I really thought this was going to be a great match. And let's be honest here, these 3 men are capable of putting on a great match. I mean, it's Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, and Finn Balor. These guys are great talent and some of the best on the roster right now. But this match was just so horribly booked that, everything these guys did in the match and all the cool stuff these guys did in the match, they were just completely thrown out of the window because of the trash booking of this match. So just take a look at this, alright? Seth Rollins, this guy stayed down for a 3 count for 1 haluva kick, man. 1 haluva kick was gonna do it. And this is the same guy that kicked out of 6 Claymores at WrestleMania, by the way. But yeah, I know you're gonna say, oh, it was a WrestleMania adrenaline. He wanted to keep his title and all that stuff. Shut up, alright? Just shut up. This is just inconsistent booking. That's what it is. You can't just have Seth freaking Rollins come out here on a Monday Night Raw main event and be down for a 3 count for 1 haluva kick. It makes no sense. But yeah, obviously that didn't end the match because, Braun Breaker and Braun Strowman pulled the official out of the ring and all that stuff. And anyways, then we hear, okay, we don't hear that. We just see Jey Uso. He's here to even the odds. He takes out Braun Strowman and Braun Breaker. I keep getting these Brauns confused, man. I almost said Braun Strowman. So anyways, then we get the worst part about this whole disaster that absolutely kills the entire match. And it's Dominic Mysterio interfering. He tries to help Finn Balor. How? He slides the chair in the ring. Like, dude, it's a no DQ. It's triple threat. You can get in the ring yourself and beat up Seth Rollins with a steel chair yourself. Why didn't you just do that? Instead, no, he slides the chair in, and before, Finn Balor can get to the, steel chair, Seth Rollins, he stomps Finn Balor on the steel chair, and he just covers him and wins. So Dominic Mysterio, who is just at ringside, couldn't he just get in the ring and break up the goddamn pin? It's a no DQ. You're not going to get disqualified. Like, it makes no sense, man. Absolutely no sense. And it just took me out of this whole thing. And it's just really sad because these guys, these guys are great. These guys are great talent. Some of the best we have on the roster right now. And the fact that their match, their triple threat match, instead of being an all-out banger, it was this booking disaster. Anyways, just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, then, Seth Rollins, he orders Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. I just said Braun Strowman did. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker to attack Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. And obviously, I knew where this was going. Obviously, because we've been seeing this for the past 2 to 3 weeks. I said, oh, okay, now CM Punk's music's going to hit, and then, they're going to go after CM Punk, but CM Punk's going to, surprise Seth Rollins from the back, and then, that's just it. And that's exactly what we got, dude. CM Punk, his music hits, and Braun... Oh, I just caught myself, dude. Braun Breaker and Braun Strowman then go after CM Punk. Like, they both go after him on the ramp, dude. Are you guys dumb? Do you guys even watch wrestling? You guys should know that he's gonna surprise Seth Rollins from behind. Like, these guys are dumb, dude. Anyways, yeah, then, CM Punk just surprises Seth Rollins from behind, hits him with a GTS, and leaves through the crowd. And that's just it. So CM Punk, the biggest star on Raw, he just shows up for the final 4 seconds and just leaves. Wow, dude. Just wow. So in totality, this entire main event was just a booking disaster and just an overall mess. So that was it for tonight's Monday Night Raw. I'm going to give this a 5.5 out of 10. Not the worst show we've seen, but it was definitely not good either. Anyways, these are just my opinions. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.